Welcome back, everyone, to the Baddest Cast.
If you find a badder cast, we'll sell you a cheaper rod.
So, my name is Sjotyme, and I'm checking in.
Mediocre dude here.
So, we are back and ready to go for our third podcast. So, super exciting. It's a Friday night that we're recording this session. So, Mediocre dude here just got done some pizzas. I actually, on the way over here...
Many pizzas.
On the way over here, I had some Five Guys. This is not a plug for Five Guys. This is not sponsored. Just saying, Five Guys, oh yeah, so good. It was delicious. Hey, it's Friday. It's Happy Friday, everybody. We got to talk about what we did. A little casual talk.
You want to plug Fridays while you're at it?
Oh God, no.
TGI?
Well, that is a good place to go eat. I will tell you that much. Today we're going to actually have a little bit more fun of a podcast.
Because all the other ones were just so miserable.
Yeah, the other ones were like old men type stuff, like what you say like when you're old men.
You know the things that when you're young you think you'll never read about, but then when you grow up you're like, oh man, Forbes, let's read this shit.
Yeah. So you guys will get a lot more of those boring old podcasts of like real serious world issues of video games. And that
serious
kind of
video game issues.
But today, right now, kind of want to talk about something more fun. Just kind of, we're just gonna see where this goes. We're just gonna talk about our origins, basically, as a mediocre dude. MD likes to put it. MD.
MD, like a doctor.
For short, yeah, MD. So basically, the name of the game is just kind of talking about our history with video games and how we got our start with it, and like when we were really young.
I have a feeling yours is a little more exciting.
So with that said, I'll just start out with how I think that I got like my video games started. Career hobby. We'll just call it a hobby. It's not really a career. Basically, I may have mentioned this on the show before, not the podcast, but basically when I was born in... okay, that's going a little too far.
Hey, you were born with like a controller in your hand?
Before, yeah. Before, actually, I got something funny to say about that later. But okay, I'll just say now because I'll probably forget. But before I get to the very beginning, basically, like I used to play video games so much that people would make fun of me and my family and stuff, and like friends' moms and stuff would say like, "Man, you play video games so much that when you die and you have to be put in a coffin, like your hands are going to be like holding the controller. Like it's going to look like you're holding a controller." They were obviously just joking around, but this was like when I was this is like when I was super young. Oh, shice. That would stink. So, but the very beginnings though, before I was born actually, this is from what I remember is that
from before you were born.
What I was told. I haven't been told the story in a long time. My memory tells me that basically that my dad bought my mom, I think it was either Valentine's Day or her birthday, a Nintendo NES.
Okay.
Nintendo Entertainment System. And of course, that was basically when it first came out, right? I was born in about 86, so it was around that time. So I was born into a household with Nintendo, so I've been tinkering with technology since then. Playing Super Mario Bros. 3 when that came out. I remember that was like when I was like 5 or 6 with my brother. Needless to say, I don't think my mom really cared too much for it, but it was really cool I basically credit my dad for buying my mom the NES, just because it's like I was born with Nintendo in the household. I would play countless times with my brother, way back in the day, like Turtles. Like Turtles 2, Turtles 3, Super Mario Bros. 3, way long time ago. And I just even remember watching the Crash Test Dummies TV show during that era. That's another thing. It has nothing to do with video games, but it sticks out. That's my earliest conception of when things started. So let's switch it over to Mediocre Dude here, so that way I don't talk for like 20 minutes.
No, have at it. No,
We'll bounce back and forth between eras. I think that's just to start out like the very earliest. Like think of back the earliest you can.
Man, you must have had it nice. Even though the NES must have been out by that point, the console I had in my home was an Atari.
Okay.
Back when all the games had one-word titles, tanks, asteroids, centipede, and that was it. There was no super variety. There were no sequels. They just were.
Right.
I experienced the NES a little bit, but only at other people's houses.
Okay.
So I only played a little bit of Super Mario.
So I can see why you said that. I was lucky.
A little bit.
Yeah.
But so like my main memories would generally be from like Sega Genesis and Super Nintendo. So if you have to jump to that era, I have nothing from the prior era, basically.
Okay.
But I can tell you that my dad told me that he threw out that Atari, and I don't know what I would have done with it at that point, but I for nostalgia's sake, I kind of wished he wouldn't have.
Right. Like play Pong and all that kind of thing at least.
Yeah.
That would have been cool. What kind of games did well, okay, so I mean you had an Atari, but like did you actually play it?
Yeah. I
Okay.
played with him.
Okay.
My dad was always more interested in video games than my mom. He still plays video games, almost exclusively survival horror, but he does.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, he's a cool guy.
That's a fun fact about Mediocre Dude's father. My dad doesn't play video
Mediocre
games.
dad.
Yeah, Mediocre dad. My dad doesn't play video games. He never was a gamer. He was more of he's always been like a mechanic, really hands-on type. He wants to flip cars and stuff and like that kind of thing. He's really good with that stuff, so that's cool. I kind of fell on the other side of that. Instead of the cars, I ended up with computers and technology, just taking a fast. So it had the same fascination and focus as my dad did, but focused on computers. But so what else then would you say early on?
Early on?
Like that during that phase?
I can hardly remember. It was a long time ago.
Super long time ago, yeah. So I mean, yeah, right. I mean, like that's. So then we'll bounce back to me again, and we'll go into the next era.
I don't think I was as much at liberty to just play it for hours on end when I was that young.
Right. Did you have a Genesis at least?
Eventually, yeah.
Okay.
So I did play Sonic the Hedgehog a lot. Sonic 3, Sonic Knuckles, putting them together, like stacking them.
Oh hell yeah, dude! That's
That was a hell of a thing.
that's.
I mean, we even revisited that in high school.
That's another thing that I did too, man. Oh yeah, of course. Well, I actually have all that set up at my house right now. I could do that right now if I wanted to.
Let's do it.
That's the funniest thing. But I actually have Sega or Sonic 3 Knuckles on the GameCube as like Sonic Mega Collection right now.
Oh yeah.
So I could just do that if I want to.
Yep.
Which is way more convenient. But
cartridges, man, they're like Kinects.
there's just something about cartridges that you can just have them and hold them, and they're relics of the past, basically.
They really are.
It's just so awesome for that. But back, so my next phase that I could remember was basically the Sega Genesis Super Nintendo era. I ended up with the Sega Genesis. My brother and I think we both took a fascination to Sonic the Hedgehog. So that's why we wanted Genesis. I know prior to that, going to my uncle's house, he had a Sega Master System way back in the day with like Ghostbusters on the Sega Master System, and he had a Game Gear. So this was way back. Like
I did play with a Game Gear a little bit. Again, not mine.
Yeah.
Man, I'm glad I didn't make decisions regarding my own consoles. I would have chosen the Sega Saturn, which actually now would have been a pretty decent investment. But back then, I don't know.
Back then it was totally different. None of us expected to see the gaming industry turn into what it is today, where it's actually a hybrid between old and new. Like there's two separate markets. It's really funny. But without digressing,
but like just getting the Sega Saturn at launch probably wouldn't work out too well for us kids.
I mean, I chose the PlayStation. Mm-hmm. That's what I ended up going with.
First one I had was Nintendo 64.
Right. I remember. Okay, yeah. That's right. And that's when we started hanging out. Or that's kind of like the era that we met.
Yeah.
But my earliest memories of Sega Saturn was I wanted one, but I got a PlayStation instead because all my friends had PlayStation. I rented PlayStation from Blockbuster way back in the day, so I really enjoyed that. So I'm like, PlayStation seems to be the system where it's at. But I remember being like at Walmart or some other whatever retail store and just seeing like Nights into Dreams.
Mm-hmm. Nights into Dreams looked incredible.
Being on display. Actually, I'm a proud Sega Saturn owner as of last year. I just picked one up at a local game store, physical game store. It's called Disc Replay, so shout out Disc Replay. I hope that they're still in business. I know one of them got closed down. That was close to here, but picked up a Sega Saturn, got Nights into Dreams at half price books because they sell that shit too. It's pretty interesting if you're into anybody that's into game collecting out there, half price books. But without digressing too much, we're talking about our past. So Nights into Dreams, play that at the kiosk at the Walmart. Thought it was great. Finally, glad to have gotten it now. So I kind of fulfilled that dream, childhood fantasy.
My only time that I got to realize that dream was actually when they released a sequel for Wii, and it was very disappointing, actually.
Oh, really?
Yes.
The sequel?
There was a sequel on Wii.
Oh, I heard about it. I never played it though. I never played the sequel. It was just so like I think a couple last month actually. Like I just played Nights into Dreams, like the authentic Sega Saturn version.
Yep.
One night, and I beat like 4 or 5 complete levels. Everybody knows with Sega Saturn the battery pack is like over years. Well, not everybody knows, but over years the battery pack dies. So every time I make a save file, it goes away in like a day.
Oh wow!
So I need to either replace the batteries or actually get the memory card thing.
Right.
But that's my Sega Saturn experience. So I'm collecting for that now. But going back, like Sega Saturn or Sega Genesis, brother and I had Sega Genesis. Got Sonic the Hedgehog 2. One of my favorite memories of that is basically just like I remember a Christmas morning we were watching like Timon and Pumbaa on Disney Channel. And just like at 4 a.m, couldn't wait until to open our presents, and just because we knew there was gonna be a Sega Genesis in there, Sonic.
Right.
We opened it up, played it. It was fantastic. We had a great old morning until I stole the controller from him and got grounded. So I got put in my room for about like 30 minutes so he can play the game. He's like, Eric, go to your room. So it's really funny.
Valuable life lessons.
So I just remember fucking hating life. Like, God, he's playing games and I'm not. But yeah, any memories that you want to share during that era?
One of my other favorite games from Sega Genesis had to be Road Rash. That was a good time. It was so dumb, but it was awesome.
That was a great game. Any others that you really played during that era? Okay, well then let's get into...
Oh, Bubsy.
Bubsy, okay.
Bubsy was good.
Bubsy is a good game. Well, it's actually a terrible game, but...
Shut up, it was good at the time.
I still own it. I have a copy of it in my house.
You sure you didn't steal mine?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
All right.
Yeah, well, actually, now that you mentioned it, I don't know. I could have way back in the day. Well, Bubsy's one of those weird games where it's like...
I like the sense of humor and like the world was just...
What could possibly go wrong?
Right.
I remember
Close Encounters of the Fur kind.
It was super hard though, wasn't it? Remember?
It was pretty tough. Yeah.
It was one of the tougher games out there, and people would complain now that because it was badly designed. But if you actually knew what you're doing and you're planning everything out.
A lot of the games were pretty harsh at the time, though.
True that. Arrow the Acrobat comes to mind with that one, but yeah, whatever. Jeez, the difficulty of games, that could be a podcast in itself, basically.
Yeah.
Let's why don't you start off the Nintendo 64 and PlayStation era, since that's where you kind of that's where your biggest memories are.
So for Nintendo 64, a lot of the times that I was playing were multiplayer games with friends. The Mario Kart. Mario Kart was probably the biggest one. A little bit of that Star Wars pod racing game.
Oh man, that
was like the best thing to come out of that movie.
I think you're the one that got me into that.
Yeah, probably.
Because I remember, I love that game.
When I got my...
Talkers back for a day.
Yep.
Go ahead, though. Finish your thought there.
When I got my Nintendo 64, I didn't particularly ask for any games, and I didn't get games that I would have expected that I would like NFL Blitz. I'm not a football fan, really, but that's an awesome game. It was so much fun.
It was a great game. I remember actually many nights playing that all alone.
Yeah. And GoldenEye. Somehow I missed that, or I didn't know that much about it, or I played it a little bit at some party or something or whatever, but it wasn't something that I was particularly interested in. Okay. But it turned out to be one of my favorite games of all time. Okay. It's kind of a surprise to me.
Perfect. So we're talking about GoldenEye. I have a lot to talk about with that, so let's hit that right now. Love that game. Actually,
I played that so much.
We actually, yeah. And then for all of our subscribers out there, Cactus and I actually have like a whole bunch of episodes of GoldenEye recorded on the Nintendo 64. I haven't started posting it yet because I'm waiting until we get a series finished. But expect to see that. If it's not posted by the time I post this, it will be up soon. My memories of GoldenEye. My friend at the time in middle school, he had it, and we would have parties of 4-player multiplayer.
Sick.
It was super fun, and it was that's just my experience, and also beating the game in 00 Agent.
Yeah.
So yeah, not to talk too much about GoldenEye because I can go on for a long time. That was that.
Perfect Agent was actually the hard one. 00 was like cheat mode sort of after that.
Perfect Agent was the sequel, which you and I definitely.
Oh no, you're right. Perfect Agent was
Perfect Dark. Right, which is actually kind of when like.
Oh no, there was 007 mode. You're right. There was 00 Agent and then 007 mode was after that, and it was just kind of like
was there a 007 mode?
Yeah.
I don't remember the 007 mode.
Yeah, you unlocked it after beating 00 Agent.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
But yeah, that game was tough. Like it was like super tense when you were like low on health, like in the middle of a level.
Oh God. His body armor vest would be like the only thing that you can ever do.
Yeah. Well, before the era of regenerating armor or regenerating health automatically.
Yeah.
Things would get really tense.
GoldenEye, man, it's so funny. Yeah, I just played it a couple weeks ago, and I actually just watched the movie.
Nice.
Just because
That's a classic.
just for fun, because like I don't really watch the movie too much. It was like just the other night I was like, yeah, let's watch GoldenEye the movie.
Nice.
Yeah.
I've seen that quite a few times.
It's good stuff. Good stuff. But with that era, I know we'll talk more about Nintendo 64, but kind of just going with the flow here. So my mind is telling me right now that era, that same friend got me into Final Fantasy VII, got me into Resident Evil. So everybody knows that subscribe to my channel knows that I'm obsessed with Resident Evil. Final Fantasy VII, Shondo and I are going to be playing that in the show soon, but he got me into playing like Final Fantasy VI. Not Shondo, a different friend.
Right.
I did know Shondo back then, but it was a totally different friend. He got me into Final Fantasy through 6, which was Final Fantasy 3 for Super Nintendo at the time.
Right.
I just remember just falling in love.
I don't think you need to specify that anymore. Maybe 10 years ago you did.
I just like to add that detail in because to really paint the picture. Like, it wasn't Final Fantasy 6. It was Final Fantasy 3.
Like a hipster.
Yeah. On cartridge. Super Nintendo. Which is probably fucking expensive now. I don't know. It might be. It might not be. But I remember playing Mortal Kombat Trilogy over at his house.
Absolutely.
Jurassic Park Lost Worlds. So that was like the PlayStation era. Really fucking awesome times. Yeah, I mean... And I think that might have been even the same era that you and I were hanging out too, possibly.
Or actually, been a little after that.
I think it was a little after that. Now that I think about it, because that was in middle school. We met it when I was in high school. That's right.
One of my friends tried to show me Final Fantasy VII, but I don't think he showed me like the best way to get into it. He was just like launching right into fighting Ruby Weapon, and I was like, okay, a bunch of anime dudes fighting like a giant tentacle monster, and I was like, that's not very interesting to me, at least, because I wasn't invested in it at that point like he was.
Yeah.
So I'd seen it, I'd been exposed to Final Fantasy VII, but I didn't get into Final Fantasy until Final Fantasy IX. I think that was you, actually. We were playing it at the same time.
I think so. I know we were like...
But then I went back and played 7 and 8. And I remember...
Did I get you into Final Fantasy?
I think you just happened to be playing it. You happened to be playing 9, and I saw it, and decided I wanted to play it too.
Yeah, so I remember, and then you were into Xenogears also.
Yeah,
I remember. I think I may have gotten you into Xenogears because I played Xenogears back in like late elementary, early middle school days.
Wow.
So it was. I remember
that's a great game
because it was before I moved to the apartments, not the ones that we were living together, but the ones prior to that you didn't know me.
Damn.
Yeah, so like I was playing way like. Xenogears, like basically when it first came out, like 98.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
I think it was 98. I remember renting it from the store.
How many times?
A couple times, 2 or 3 times. I remember getting past disc 1 multiple times. I remember, like I said, I'm going with the flow here, so I'm just gonna just speak what's popping into my head. Another thing that's unrelated to that is just like. Remembering Final Fantasy VII, a memory that I have was just Video games, man, I played them so much, like it was like an addiction problem almost. Like I wasn't getting schoolwork done.
You still have it.
I still have it. I wasn't getting schoolwork done. I remember having like a giant project to do for school, and I was playing Final Fantasy VII. Spoilers, at the part where Cloud is in his coma.
Uh-huh.
And I'm like, I can't.
You
Stop.
can't leave him.
I'm like, I can't stop playing this game. This is such an awesome part of the game. I have a project I gotta do. Oh no, fuck that. And I just remember having to give up the game and go work on the project. And I think I failed the project because I started working on it at like 8 o'clock at night. It was one of those projects that requires you to do like a week to do it, or they give you a week to do it. It's so bad.
You started your delinquency early.
I did. It's sad but true. But yeah, that's basically majority of like the most important memories I have during that time. And then there's also Zelda, obviously 64, Conquer Bad Fur Day. I just remember, GameStop, Funkoland.
Yep.
All those things.
We touched on those actually.
We touched on those on prior podcasts, so we won't go too much into it. But everybody that's listening to this remembers Funkoland and trading of games. I traded games, like a bunch of old school games. Actually, funny story.
And now you're probably trading in things to rebuy them now.
I actually don't trade in anymore. I collect.
Right.
But funny story. Sean knows this, but it's just one of my gaming sins, my gamer sins that I've had. I remember a long time ago. This is when we were kids, okay? Mind everybody. So obviously, I realize now that it was a horrible thing to do. But so basically, back when we were like elementary school days, like really young, like maybe 8, 9, 10, like whatever. Whenever Shondo and I met, third grade, around that time. Basically, like, for my birthday, his dad got like a whole bunch of old school NES games. And they actually could have been full of rare gems that are worth a lot of money these days. But being the idiot kid I am, or I was, I mean, Funkoland was super tempting. So it's like, I was like, after a while, it's like, so anyways, Shonda, for a birthday present, got me those games. Because just got a bunch of games worthless at the time, right? It's just like, here you go.
You gifted them.
It's like, here you go. I sold him to Funkoland to buy other games. And like I said, I obviously regret doing that now. Shondo knows about this. This is no secret.
He's finding it out on this podcast.
Yeah. But like, one of my
4 days later, the channel is no more.
Yeah, it's one of my biggest gaming sins. I regret to this day selling that box of NES games because who knows what was in there, what was valuable or not.
Yeah. I kind of regret selling my original Pokemon Red. It was like $5. Like, what do I need $5 that badly for to sell Pokemon Red?
Oh, God.
I'd still buy that game for $5.
You just opened up a can of worms. Now we got Pokemon to talk about here.
Oh, that was the thing for everybody once upon a time.
Yeah. So, obviously, if we talk way too much, if we get in deep into everything, we can take eons. But, yeah. Long story short, with Pokemon, I caught all 151.
Yep.
I just remember linking up with my brother, taking that Game Boy everywhere.
Yep.
Getting Pokemon Yellow.
We had like an entourage all playing Pokemon together.
It was crazy shit. And then Conker's Bad Fur Day. That experience we all shared at your place.
Oh, yeah.
That was... If anybody that knows what Conker's Bad Fur Day is, holy shit.
It's good stuff.
Yeah. Really, I mean, that's just kind of it, really, that I can think of talking about. As far as nostalgia goes. After that, basically...
Tony Hawk's Pro Skater.
Tony Hawk's... See,
I was big around our neighborhood.
Oof. Oh, God. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. I played the shit out of that game.
Yep.
Fucking combo, kick flips, to grinds, to manuals, to all that jazz. Man.
Those 1,000,000-point combos.
I played so many games. Shadow of the Colossus, Ico, so many memories with so many different games. I can go on this podcast for like hours. Basically, but then it turned into just like modern games. I actually fell out of gaming for a while when I went to college. Then I picked it back up again with Call of Duty. And
like that project all over again.
What project?
In school, Final Fantasy VII.
Oh, yeah. No. Well, luckily it didn't get in the way. But yeah,
it was actually good during college.
Yeah. Just moving forward, yeah. Call of Duty got into Demon Souls back when that came out. That's something that's worth mentioning. A story I can elaborate on, basically. The way I got into Demon Souls, Dark Souls series was basically I remember having a Game Informer, and the Game Informer was it had like
those for free with all your GameStop subscriptions.
Oh, what?
Remember when you like subscribe to like get the GameStop card and then you get like your Game Informer? So everyone had Game Informers.
I think so. I have actually a ton of PlayStation magazines, and I have a lot of Game Informers. Yeah, I looked up the price, and those haven't really gone up much, unfortunately. Maybe years from now.
There are too many of them out there.
I got a whole box, but I just remember looking in like a Game Informer or Electronic Gaming Monthly magazine. Just like essentially, there was an article saying like the gems that awesome games that you probably didn't play.
Mm-hmm.
And I was looking through it, and I saw a picture of a game where it was like this knight fighting the demon, like this big demon. And if you actually look at the back of the box on Demon Souls, you can see this exact picture. It's like a giant demon with the axe. It's the stray demon for all of you Dark Souls fans. It's basically like the fluted armor knight fighting it, and I'm like, that picture looks cool because I like fantasy medieval type games, and that looks actually badass just by the picture.
There you go.
And then I read it, and it was like, oh, it's a third-person action RPG, blah blah blah. And I was like, and I just got the PS3 at the time. I was playing Call of Duty and stuff. I didn't have really much other games to play on it, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna give this game a shot. It's on the 2000 and
right.
Or it's on the 2009 games that you missed that are awesome, and I just liked the way it looked, so I bought it. I took a risk. I just paid $60 for it.
Doesn't sound like such a risk anymore.
And next thing you know, by the time this podcast comes out, it's not the final episode's not up yet, but we did beat Shondo and I beat with Shondo there basically the Dark Souls 3. On the playthrough, so we will have a finale for it. So look out for that. So it went from that to doing Dark Souls 3 on the show, and beating it. So just because I know a lot of my subscribers are Dark Souls fans, so I figured might as well share that the origins with Dark Souls. I
always knew of Demon Souls by reputation. I think somewhat because of its difficulty, but I've also had some friends who played it. I haven't played it yet myself.
I would recommend it. You got a PS4.
I also picked up Scholar of the First Sin.
Oh,
while it was on sale.
You have that game.
Yeah. So one of these days I'll get to it.
I actually want to buy that when it's on sale.
It's been on sale a couple times. Got it for like $16.
$16?
Yeah.
That is some damn good shit. So I mean, why don't you? I mean, do you have anything?
You skipped the generation.
Oh man, there's so much to talk about. Dreamcast.
PlayStation 2, dude.
Oh yeah. All right. Well, take it away. Oh yeah. Damn, you're right. I'm worried about this podcast going too long, but you know what? Fuck it. Let's just I seriously was just kind of worried about this podcast going on for too long because man. But I guess let's just keep talking until we exhaust it.
That's not bad.
Yeah, we're at 30 minutes right now. About that time, that's fine.
All right. So I had some hard time convincing my family to get me the PlayStation 2. So the way I did it was perhaps diabolical. I did come across $60 at some point, and I bought Final Fantasy X. Not even owning a PlayStation 2 yet.
Final Fantasy X.
I hadn't even owned a PlayStation 2 yet, but I figured, you're not going to let me have this PlayStation 2 game without a PlayStation 2.
Oh, I see that line of thing.
And it worked.
I see that line of thing. It's like.
But it was a lengthy campaign to get this PlayStation 2.
Yeah, it's the feeling guilty. That's actually pretty genius.
But also,
it's diabolical.
At the time, there were major concerns of supply issues with Final Fantasy X, so there was another rational reason to get it. I remember that. I mean, that was early in the year in high school. Like, we were tight then, and we would eat lunch together, and everyone would talk about it, about how like certain GameStop stores were sold out. It was a big thing at the time.
Okay. My origins for PlayStation 2, it was kind of the same thing with the Sega Genesis, kind of with my brother and me. We both really wanted. I don't know if it was. No, okay. I'm trying to think. I just remember really wanting it for Christmas, and my mom ended up getting it for us, and we got Soul Reaver. Or no, we got the demo, like PlayStation, some sort of demo that was on it, and it actually it had Soul Reaver on it. Mm-hmm. So that's why I like that.
Yeah, I don't play demos now, but demo discs were really awesome back then.
Demo discs were super cool. PlayStation Underground. That's what it was. Do you remember that?
Right, the magazine that had a disc each month.
Yeah. So that was my memories of getting a PlayStation 2. Oh, man, and PlayStation, like playing Spyro the Dragon when we lived next to each other. Yeah, you already mentioned Tony Hawk. What else? Oh, yeah, there's a whole thing with Shondo also in his basement. Like I said, his dad just knew people that fucking gave him games all the time. So, like, Shondo had so many fucking games, like, of all systems, just like Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis, all those things. I remember playing, like, Zombies Ate My Neighbors.
Yep, I remember that.
All those games with him over at his house.
Paperboy.
Paperboy. Oh, and you know what? How can I do this podcast without saying this memory? This is one of my most fondest memories of video games in my life. I remember when Shondo and I, basically when we first met. Basically, Shondo and I might as well say how we met. It was like 3rd, 4th grade. I was in 3rd grade. He was in 4th grade. Basically, it was in the back of a bus. We were the kids that, we sat in the back, and we would make fun of all the girls that were back there. And like, we were like, oh, okay, cool. Like, all right, we can hang. That's cool. We would just team up against them, and we became friends that way. And then he came over, and I was eating a hard-boiled egg, and he was like, ew, that's a hard-boiled egg. I'm like, yeah, they're great. He's like, oh, I don't.
No, they're not.
Like, I hate those.
Yeah,
and he to this day doesn't remember that little moment happening. But Shawnee would come over. We'd have sleepovers. Basically, we would play Resident Evil.
Yep.
Together. Way long time ago. Silent Hill. Man, how could I have not included this? I totally forgot about all this. This is probably the most important because everybody knows who Shondo is. So yeah, that's like Silent Hill, Resident Evil. He got into playing Final Fantasy X a little bit. I know he likes that game. That's why he's excited to watch me play Final Fantasy VII.
I remember he was big on Triple Triad. He would watch us play Triple Triad.
Oh, with the Final Fantasy VIII?
Final Fantasy VIII.
Yeah. See, you have a better memory for that than I do. Oh, and you remember how we played RPG Maker on your computer?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man. Dude.
The cow of random catastrophe.
Wow. This is a blast from the past.
That was my Skype avatar for the longest time. Except I had to make I was going to have an interview, and he wanted to do it over Skype. I figured I should probably change this avatar if I was going to have an interview with somebody. But until then, it was this crudely drawn paint shop, or like Microsoft Paint, rather, brown cow with hay sticking out of its mouth.
Oh my gosh. Didn't we do that for it?
Yeah.
Yeah, oh my god.
The character in the RPG.
Oh my god.
And when you beat him, like, the world set ablaze.
Dude, we had some fun times. And a friend of mine that he was actually with us during that. He wants to be known as on our channel as Quinn Bross, because that's his pen name. Because he's an aspiring writer.
Cool.
Writing a novel at the moment. And you can he's going by the name Quinn Bross. You can find him on Twitter. I think it's at Quinn Bross. Check him out. He's a really awesome, really talented artist / musician. Getting into writing novels. He wants to make a guest appearance on Final Fantasy VII at some point while we're doing that, because he loves that series too as well. And I just remember playing with him over at his. Oh, that's another gaming memory of mine back in high school. I did play a lot in high school with my skateboarding friends. We would go into Quinn Bross's basement and play all like Punch Out, like NES. Like that's where I really got into that. Zelda Ocarina of Time, Metroid Prime. We played oh god, I have so many memories, dude. Like so much. Marvel vs. Capcom, Dance Dance Revolution.
I never got into it.
Got into Dance Dance Revolution.
Everybody did. Everybody did except me.
So much, dude. Mandog, who played Donkey Kong Country. Mandog basically was the king. We would come home from school and we would play. And yeah, Mandog was on Donkey Kong Country the first couple episodes to the audience here. So go check out Donkey Kong Country. Plug in my own series so you can see who Mandog is. He's the one from Japan. He would be like the king at like over at Quinn Bross's house. We would just go to his house after high school, and like we'd have the DDR mat, and he would just be hysterical, like
really
just dancing like a crazy man. But he was the best.
Wow.
Like as crazy as he looked, he was the best at Dance Dance Revolution, and nobody can beat him. And oh man, this is a bad topic because I can go on forever. Final Fantasy IX. Yeah, right. Final Fantasy IX. Shout outs to Jace Cotter. I know Jace Cotter listens to this podcast, so what's up, buddy? How you doing? Can't wait for Resident Evil 2 remake video that you've been talking about. He was saying that he wishes these were longer.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So Jace Cotter is our biggest fan for the podcast. So shout outs to Jace Cotter.
All right, we'll make it a little longer for you, buddy.
Yeah. So basically, like, I'm thinking. I remember just being at Quinn Bross's house in the dead of winter. He didn't have heat.
Oh no.
Or and like, basically, we would play Final Fantasy IX on the upper floor, and just in blankets on the couch. Separate couches, mind you.
Not that romantic.
Yeah, that wasn't that romantic. But it was just super cold. It was like, being Saturday morning or something, just like in the early morning, just curled up in the dead of winter in blankets and just fucking playing Final Fantasy IX. Fuck yeah, dude. It was the best. And
That was a great game.
And I remember he played Diablo, like Diablo 3 or Diablo 2. I mean, I watched him do that too, as well.
You know what was a big one for me, actually? On PC, Heroes of Might and Magic 3. I don't think you ever played that one. No.
Heroes of Might and Magic?
Heroes of Might and Magic.
I've heard of it, but I never really played it much.
Alright, I guess that's that then.
That's that. Yeah, I mean...
I still go back to it like every few years and play it a little more. When I was looking to get the PlayStation 3, Borderlands was coming out. And I think my original interest in that game was just seeing the promo art with the bandit with the making the gun with his hands.
Yeah, on the cover.
I just thought it was really cool art.
Right.
So I looked into the game. I saw the trailer, and say what you will about dubstep, it really works for trailers. The Borderlands trailer was pretty cool.
Okay, well I like dubstep though.
You're wrong. Actually, I posted on Facebook once. Oh shit! I like dubstep, and my brother said no.
So that's how you fell in love with Borderlands?
The trailer was really cool, and it turns out, I always liked first-person shooters, and it had the Diablo thing going for it, and a quirky sense of humor. It was a great game.
Borderlands is a respectable game in my book. I haven't really played it much. Hey, you're a stupid head.
A stupid head.
What a stupid head.
You sure showed me.
So, I know that we're trying to talk about PS3, but of course I have to just say what pops in my head or else I'll forget it, right? So as it comes on, I just remember that
stupid head.
You are a stupid head, you dummy face. You dummy face, boop boop.
You're the one trying to preserve your ideas in your head before they evaporate.
That's what I'm trying to do. Because I know that's what happens. Because I actually forgot to kind of talk about what I... Let's actually just do this fucking now. I forgot to talk about the whole point of the Shondo story.
There was a point?
I was like, oh man, probably one of my most important video game memories of all time. And I just talked about how Shondo and I met. Basically what I was saying was I rented Earthworm Jim on the Sega Genesis a super long time ago. This is back in 3rd or 4th grade, right? During that period of the hard-boiled eggs.
Okay.
And on the back of the bus. I remember he lived right down the street, within walking distance. So as a kid, that was the greatest. Your best friend is just right down the street.
Yep.
Right? Kind of like in high school, you and me.
Yep. Right across the hall.
It was right across the hall.
You didn't even have to go outside.
Didn't even have to go outside. I just remember renting Earthworm Jim for the Sega Genesis, you know, in the rental boxes, the clear rental boxes, walking over there and then just... And this is an important memory for me because I actually can remember it vividly. Just walking there in, like, it was like an overcast day. I think it just rained. And I just remember walking there, passing a barn that got destroyed. Curving it. I know, nobody would know what I'm talking about. And just remember, like, almost the whole way just looking at it. Like, oh, we're going to go play it over at Shondo's house. Yeah. But Earthworm Jim, another great memory with that. Oh, my God. See, now can of worms are opening some more stuff. So
Earthworms, perhaps?
I have so much shit to talk about. So we have... I don't care how long this goes anymore. Fuck it. Basically, so let's talk about this first, since you are kind of relevant to this part. Do you remember when we lived? Yeah. Do you remember how when we lived next to each other, that there was that huge like sonic boom that happened?
Huh?
Like boom. Do you remember that at all? Like from the Jets? It was like
Maybe.
It was this big thing. At the time, I remember playing Jet Grind Radio.
Okay.
On the Dreamcast, and all of a sudden there was just big boom, and this was during the September 11th when that happened.
Okay.
So everybody's
this is it. We're going down.
Everybody's freaking out, like what the hell's happening, and da da da. This is post September 11th, so everybody's like scared as fuck. And I just remember, it was just a jet. Sonic Boom. But I bring that up because it was Jet Grind Radio I was playing when that happened. Mm-hmm. And I remember that specifically. I remember also playing Sonic Adventure 2 there. My brother had an Xbox. We shared a room together. And we played Xbox. It's the only time I ever really played Xbox. I played the original Halo. Mm-hmm. Never owned a 360. Don't have an Xbox One. That's also when we played a lot of Grand Theft Auto 3 when that first came out. When we shared that bedroom. Which was when we were neighbors.
Right.
During that exact same period. That's when I got Majora's Mask, played that. Shondo came over. You came over to watch me play it. Yeah, you've known Shondo for a long time, dude. That's
intermittently.
And you're mediocre.
That's mediocre.
Man. So that's all I can think about really much about that era, other than playing Spyro. The Dragon, I think I mentioned that.
GTA 3 was a big deal.
GTA 3 was a huge thing back then. I remember... That's all that we can play. And I don't really play much Grand Theft Auto anymore just because, like, I got burned out from it. Mm-hmm. Everybody's like, get GTA 5. It's like...
I did pick up the PlayStation 4 version of that. I played it a little bit. It's so pretty.
The PlayStation 4 one?
Yeah, it looks so good.
It does look good. And I remember on Steam it was on sale for as low as like $20 or something. And I was like, I don't want to buy it because I probably won't ever play it, even though it's on sale. Yeah, GTA was a huge sensation. Oh, the Days. Oh my God. See, I wonder if there's going to be an end to my memories. 32X. Fucking played that a shitload. PC games from the early era. Doom.
Do you still have that Chaotix game on 32X?
No, I sold it.
Why did you do that?
Because back then...
You're breaking my heart here.
I was a kid.
You're dumb. You were a dumb kid.
I know. I have so many regrets of games I sold. Trust me. I did sell it probably to get like. I do remember selling a bunch of games to pick up Majora's Mask on Nintendo 64.
You probably sold a bunch of games to buy games at full price that are worth less now than the games that you sold.
Absolutely. At the time, nobody knew that was going to... Gaming would be the way it is today.
Yeah.
Nobody. And I was a kid, so fucking no clue, but yeah, totally regret it. Oh, yeah.
I gotta find that and play it.
I still have Conker's Bad Fur Day, but it's not your copy.
So, not really concerned that you're stealing my games.
But I actually own a copy of Conker's Bad Fur Day, which is which is valuable for Nintendo 64 game.
Is it?
For Nintendo 64, yeah. It's up there. It's like $80 last time I checked.
Wow.
Which is pretty expensive.
I mean, it was a pretty monumental game.
Yeah.
Published by Nintendo, rated M.
Yeah. And it was, yeah. But you don't want to digress too much, but basically, yeah, long story short.
What, you don't want to talk about the poop monster?
Well, okay. Well, let's talk about the history of Concord is irrelevant to this. But yes,
actually,
we can discuss the poop monster because we shared that experience.
Now that you mention it, Conker was originally in Diddy Kong Racing. I played that game quite a bit too.
Yeah, and he also Diddy Kong's Racing is a fantastic game.
It was.
I actually got addicted to it.
That game was hard as hell.
I got super addicted to it. Super addicted.
Like the silver coin challenge where you had to like get first place while collecting all the coins on the map.
So those
were so hard.
See, you remember more than me.
It's so hard.
You remember way more than I do.
But that was a fun game.
Totes my goats, man. Speaking of Diddy Kong's Racing, I remember a family friend, a place basically like where my mom met quote unquote girlfriend, right? That's what they call her. Oh, she's my girlfriend, right? You know how moms are.
Yeah.
We would go over to there, and it was like basically it was perfect because there's my brother, I'm the oldest, and there's my brother in the middle, my younger sister. We all had some friend to play with because the oldest was a girl that was my age. We went to the same school, and then there was the next one down was a guy from my brother to hang out with, that's the same age, and then below that was a girl from my sister to hang out the same age, and then there was the fourth kid that they had, which was nobody. He hung out with everybody, but he's like the baby. But basically, I remember going to their house, playing a lot of video games, playing Donkey. That's where I really because I never had a Super Nintendo.
Mm-hmm.
I never had a Super Nintendo. I had Sega Genesis, right? Sega CD, 32X. I would always have to go to friend's house to play Super Nintendo.
Right. That's how I was.
Yeah, and they were one of the houses that they played. We played Mario RPG.
Nice.
We played Donkey. That's where I got into the Donkey Kong Country series, I believe. I think it was them. No, it was not. I don't think it was not. I don't know. I remember playing a lot of DKC 2 over at their house.
Right.
That was the house that the mom was like, "You're gonna die in the coffin like this, with your hands in there." I remember playing Donkey Kong Country, an NBA Jam at a friend's house upstairs in his room. I think it was in his parents' room. That's where they had the video game system. Probably because back then it was like didn't want them to play too much,
right? So
it had to be in the parents' room. But I remember playing Donkey Kong Country there, and also a lot of Earthworm Jim 2, Star Fox. Okay, so there's my mom had a friend who happened to be very wealthy, pretty rich. I don't know whatever happened to that. I think
same thing that happens.
They were experimenting.
Crack cocaine.
They were probably just experimenting with like seeing the kids could become friends, right?
Right.
I just remember my brother hanging out, and it's just like.
And then you randomly hear it reported one day, experiment failed, it's over.
I don't know. Well, we got along because of video games.
Right.
That's what brought us together. But I remember this guy was like, he had a crazy fucking house. Like, he was just rich beyond belief. At the time as a kid.
I can't even.
When you're a kid and you think somebody is rich, they must be.
It's true.
You know what I mean? Like
when you're aware of it. When
you're aware of it when you're a kid, it's like, yeah. It was probably elementary school era. I just remember going over there in their basement playing Star Fox 64. We played Earthworm Jim as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Good times. This is a great podcast. It's like I'm just like fucking expressing my entire like passion and experience of video games throughout my entire life in this one podcast.
I'm expressing my bitterness for not having consoles until I was like 12.
Yeah.
I just hate all those kids who grew up with video games. I blame all of them for my suffering.
I'm surprised because you're so passionate about games as well. Like, you want to be a game developer, so, like, surprised. Maybe it's to make up for all the...
A lot of it was Magic the Gathering, though. I started that young as well.
Okay,
that's been a part of my life.
Hey, you know what?
Going on 18 years or something. So
if that's what got you into video games, by all means. That's included in the...
Oh, you know what? back when I was on like the PlayStation Final Fantasy binge, I came upon Final Fantasy Tactics. And,
Tactics!
That's a classic by all standards.
I want to play that on our fucking channel.
But like at the time, I think I held the unpopular opinion at the time that it was my favorite Final Fantasy. Better than 7, better than 6, better than any of them.
Wow, I think
my favorite.
I think I remember you saying that, and I was like, "You're fucking bogus," because I actually had Final Fantasy Tactics. I had a love-hate relationship with it, where love actually ended up winning. It was like, oh man, I like the other ones better, like 6 and 7 and 8 and da da da. Tactics, whatever. I rented it, I played it. It's boring and da da da. But then I gave it another shot as I got older, and I'm like, this is very fucking complex, very deep, and very rewarding.
Yeah.
If you the storyline is just like get out of town.
It's easily the deepest one.
It's super dark, super deep. Very, very. If you guys are Final Fantasy fans and have not played Tactics, play it. It's a very rewarding experience if you play it from the beginning to end. It is an acquired taste. It's not for everybody, but if you can somehow acquire that taste, I would
Tactical RPG is a great genre in general. There are other ones that are also excellent.
I heard Breath of Fire was. I never really got into that. Now, Tactics for the Game Boy Advance.
No, I also played that.
Remember Golden Sun, dude? Oh, we got to talk about the Game Boy Advance experience.
Yeah.
We played Golden Sun. Remember that?
Golden Sun was good, but
Castlevania Symphony of the Night.
Do you remember, like, have you ever felt like where you finish a game and you're like, I would play a sequel tomorrow, but then by the time the game actually comes out, you're not interested anymore?
Yeah. I actually went through a strong phase of just like overthinking video games too much. Kind of like, just like, man, I'm not really enjoying games as much as I used to. Because I'm like overthinking it.
Sure.
It's like really weird stuff. Like, oh man, I used to like really enjoy looking at the character, and how they were animated and stuff. And like, it just filled me with great joy. And like now it's like I don't.
Now they're just kind of
like maybe I was just getting bored of them, but I really wasn't. I was just going through that weird phase.
You're weird.
I'm pretty weird. That's why I started a YouTube channel.
I need to express my weirdness to the public.
You know what? It's a great outlet because actually a lot of people would argue that the YouTube gaming community is very negative, very bad.
Bunch of assholes. But there's actually a group, a really awesome, friendly, positive group of video game players, and I feel that the community that we've found on YouTube here at Baddest Dudes is perfect for us. Yeah, all of our comments have been great.
Yeah. Mediocre Dude's been looking at those comments too, everybody, and he's he's wanting to buy all of you goldfish. Oh yeah, sell you a rod. Oh man, but as far as PC gaming goes, I didn't really play much PC. I played Doom.
Mm-hmm.
Never really owned like a strong PC. I remember at Shondo's house, his brother had PC, so I played Quake on that. My uncle had Quake.
How about Duke Nukem?
Duke Nukem. My experience with Duke Nukem was on the PlayStation. I had the Duke Nukem on PlayStation. The one with like the very first person shooter one.
Right.
Where like the strippers were like shaking their tatas.
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that.
I think one of the biggest things that I appreciated with the PlayStation 3 was the environments, like what they could do with those. Like the Assassin's Creed series was like entirely enabled by technology to render these cities, and so realistically that it was just like you just want to play the game to see the city. That's it.
Assassin's Creed was. I'm not a big fan of Assassin's Creed anymore. I think that they basically been kicking a dead horse for too long.
Yeah, it could be. Although they're not releasing one this year.
Good. They need to take a break because I stopped playing Assassin's Creed after the third one.
Third, like the one named 3, or Brotherhood was the third one?
I played a little bit of Assassin's Creed 1. Didn't beat it. I beat Assassin's Creed 2. I actually got a platinum trophy on it. Played and beat Assassin's Creed 3.
But there was Brotherhood between that.
I have Brotherhood.
And there was Revelations, actually.
I actually gave Brotherhood an attempt, and that's when I realized I was burned out from Assassin's Creed. It's like, this is this.
How soon apart did you play them?
It's an amazing series. Don't get me wrong, but just all you really need to do is play one or two.
How close to did you play them?
And then you have the area. That's my opinion, though. That's my opinion. I know a lot of people would say, "Sjotyme, fuck you. Black Flag is the shit."
I've actually heard good things about Black Flag.
I think Black Flag is great.
Yeah.
I think Black Flag is great. I just don't have the patience to play through a whole nother Assassin's Creed game.
Sure.
And that's kind of like what you were saying. It's like, why would you watch a Let's Play and not play it? Assassin's Creed 4 is actually a perfect example. I'd rather just watch somebody play it.
Sure.
As opposed to playing it myself, because it's just, I've been there, done that, had that experience. Don't want to do it again. I'll watch somebody play it, though. That's fine.
Yeah. But the reason I ask, why I want to drill you a little bit about Brotherhood is the best game in my opinion.
Drill away.
The best Assassin's Creed.
It was
way better than 2.
It was cool. I got as far as the mission of...
Or maybe not way better, but...
I got as far as the mission of when you throw that girl over your shoulder.
Like a Continental Soldier?
No, that's you're like hijacking like this princess or a queen or something.
Uh-huh.
And
I don't remember.
I couldn't beat the mission, so I just stopped playing. I was like, all right, well, I beat Assassin's Creed 2.
But honestly, like
and 3. I really don't have the interest to continue this. This is the same game.
Sure. But I think, first of all, the music is excellent. And that's important to me. Like, the music and the environment, just like the whole aesthetic.
Right.
I think that's what made Brotherhood my favorite. Venice had really pretty music in the second game, but...
Yeah. Assassin's Creed 2, I think...
But I think Brotherhood was like the perfect Assassin's Creed package.
I think the Assassin's Creed 2 series was the best of all of them.
Okay.
Of all the Assassin's Creed. Like with Ezio and shit.
Right. No, actually, like, sometimes when I just needed like something to listen to while I was studying, I would just listen to the Assassin's Creed 2 soundtrack.
Sick shit, dude.
This is really good.
So...
But no, actually, I was going to say about Assassin's Creed Brotherhood...
Sure.
I really appreciated the design of the optional objectives, like the full synchronization mechanics.
Mm-hmm.
I really appreciate those. They're kind of like a subtle way to add like an additional difficulty level, while not really alienating people who want to play like a normal mode. I guess we could get into that if we want to talk about difficulty in general.
Okay.
I guess we've touched on difficulty twice so far. But I also think that these optional objectives are something that Metal Gear Solid 5 did pretty well for the most part. I think that's a very good way to design your stages.
Haven't really played much of Metal Gear Solid 5.
Loser.
I watched you play a little bit, though.
Maybe I should watch a little more.
Why don't we talk a little bit about Modern Era now? I think we've reached Modern Era.
We did it.
This is So I've beaten Dark Souls 3. Doom on the show. Today I just kind of have a collection of games that I just like. I'm playing Demon Souls right now. Mm-hmm. I just kind of go back and forth between different eras. Since I just beat Dark Souls 3, I'm playing Demon Souls now as a female magician, which is aka female sorcerer, because I never played as a female character, so thought I'd freshen it up a little bit. Never played as a sorcerer, so I thought I'd do that. I have PS4. I don't really play, to be quite honest, I really don't play too much video games outside of our recording sessions that we have, but when I ever get a chance, I don't really play too many quote-unquote modern games. I seem to always find myself going back to the older generations. Yeah,
I realized lately that I think Metal Gear Solid 5 is the only PlayStation 4 game I've actually beaten. I played Final Fantasy XIV quite a bit. And those are like the only PS4 games I played, because as of late I've been playing a lot of PC games, like card games and junk. So I'm not actually playing that many PS4 games. I collect them though. I buy them anytime they're on sale. I got lots of them.
Right,
I just don't get around to playing them.
It's one of the things. Yeah, I have that.
I'm even excited to.
There's so many games I bought on Steam that I don't play. I picked them up, like, oh, that's on sale. I'll buy it right now, and I'll play it sometime in the future.
Yep.
Because I just actually got on to Steam. I guess that counts for modern gaming. I just got into Steam last year, basically.
Well, you got the PC that can do it.
About a year and a half. Yeah, because I have the PC I could do it with. I played occasionally. I mean, I love the shit out of it. I played Portal. There's like Odalus, The Dark Call, which is a 2D like Castlevania sort of clone.
Okay.
Or inspired by it, I should say. I mean, all the games that I have Quake on there because I used to play the old Quake in my uncle's house all the time. Yeah, a lot of awesome games on there that I like to play. I wouldn't necessarily say survival horror. I forgot the name of it. It's on the tip of my tongue, but like there's some horror games in there.
You got Amnesia?
Amnesia, that's the one I'm thinking of. How did you? Wow, you're a clever boy.
You had trouble remembering Amnesia. Interesting.
That's actually interesting, isn't it? But yeah, I mean, really not much to say other than that's my modern day experiences right now is just over the past year has just mostly been on the show. Squaresoft is a huge thing.
Mm-hmm.
Square Enix, Dragon Quest VIII. I played the shit out of that. Anime type games. Parasite Eve 2, which I actually want. I already did Parasite Eve on my channel, a full playthrough. I plan on doing Parasite Eve 2 on the channel as well, with the face cam. Now that I had the face cam, Parasite Eve 2 is a crazy one. I did Dino Crisis. I'm running out of steam, so all I can really think of is just like...
In terms of other RPGs, I remember really appreciating Grandia 2, and I kind of...
Grandia 2 was okay.
I don't know why I liked it so much. The combat was so good.
I can appreciate it, right, for what it was, but it was boring.
It could be, but the combat system was so good.
Mega Man Legends.
Alright.
We didn't even talk about Mega Man this whole time.
I never played Mega Man.
What the fuck?
I don't know, man.
Look at the time.
Oh, it's time to go.
Oh, shit. I don't have time for a podcast anymore.
I don't have time for a podcast with a guy who's never played Rockman.
Oh! Mega Man, I played a shitload of that back in the day. Little Nemo. Yeah, I mean, at this point, I'm just going to be listing off all these.
List names.
Game Genie. Remember Game Genie?
I remember Game Genie, Game Shark.
So I think I'm pretty content. Unless you have anything more to add, I feel that like I'm pretty exhausted with the subject.
It's over. It's done.
I think we killed it.
Finished.
I mean, at this point, it would just be like little things like, oh, I played Comic Zone at one point. I really like Comic Zone. Da 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 da. I mean, it's like that would just be just jumping into the details.
Dead Space was pretty phenomenal.
That's what we're just we're just talking about cool games now. So I think it's time that we end.
No, I mean, it left a big impression on me. It was one of those.
Okay, sure. I mean, if you have,
I think it was the first big game that I played in high definition, and it was the perfect game to do it. By the way, it was so environmental, atmospheric, and we also had surround sound at the time.
Okay.
And
I know Dead Space. I beat 1 and 2 with Shondo before we started this channel, and played 3, but gave up on 3 because it was kind of boring.
Yeah, so it was that was one of my first big HD experiences. Remember, my first PS3 game was I think Borderlands, but that's cell shaded. It's a little different. It's not exactly the HD experience. Right. Dead Space was, and it was very effective for what it was.
Dead Space was the shit.
It's so well done.
It's kind of like survival horror.
It's totally survival horror.
But at the same time, not survival horror. Just because it's a lot of action.
The second one, particularly.
Yeah, I mean,
and third, I imagine.
I mean,
that more.
I mean, it's like a hybrid between survival horror and action horror.
I guess
that's what I would call it.
But yeah, it's definitely pretty frightening at times. And I think that the dismemberment mechanic is brilliant. Headshots are so boring. I just want to cut off arms with
dismember legs. For your life. Yeah. Dismember the fresh maker.
Okay. We'll stop listing off games. We'll stop talking about.
All I'm saying is I feel that we should wrap this episode.
I think we should.
We're going over an hour.
We can't do it.
We've gone over an hour. Now we're just listing games now. So I think we captured. I think I captured at least my love and passion and history of video games. Do you have anything that you want to add? Because I'm exhausted with it. I've already exhausted it for me. how about yourself? Do you have anything that you want to talk about before we end this?
Nope.
Okay, so that was a really good one. That was a really good podcast, so I hope you guys really enjoyed that. Today was a little bit more fun since we're recording this on a Friday night and just kind of feeling festive. So it's like, instead of talking about the PlayStation 4 Pro and Xbox One Slim and how they compete with each other and how it doesn't have a 4K player in the PS4 Pro, we decided to take a more humble approach and just talk about our gaming history.
Did you, James?
And our love for it. So for all of you guys that stuck around to the end, that
you're doing God's work.
that are fans of this channel, you now have a lot better understanding of my take on video games and my love and passion for it, and also Mediocre Dude as well. But with that said, thanks a lot, guys, for tuning into this podcast. Expect some more coming up in the future. We'll talk to you.
Have a good one.